Welcome to Market Matters. I'm Nadia Hassan together with Sulhi Azman. It is Monday. It's going to be the first full week in December as we tick down to 2016. I've been following the Paris climate talks over the weekend. Fascinating stuff. Definitely, they will be holding up until 11th December, and it seems that more and more, agreements are going to be signed.
Definitely, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change is being held in Paris. I think they are trying to talk about and discuss these issues of,
climate
change. And I think the climate change they were predicting not to go above 2%.
Yeah, well, not 2%, 2 degrees. The magic number is 2 degrees. It changes a lot of things, and I think neither of us have kids, but obviously when we do have kids, we want them to grow up in a world where we don't see what we're seeing in Beijing, apocalypse as they call it. And you can see a lot of extreme weather patterns. It's not good for economies as well.
It is not good for economies. So if you look at the current world, I think the Earth is upset, by our...
Well, she's been bent over enough, so yeah, I think it's going to hurt.
A lot of things going on with Chennai and a lot of things.
Exactly.
And, goodness.
Well, I think we have to keep all an eye on that. We have to see what the bigger implications are. But moving on to our local market, we are looking at KLCI. It started the Monday on a happier note, up about 4 points to 1672. Flat, exactly. 2 billion shares were traded today, just under a little bit. I think everybody definitely is in a bit of a holiday mood.
Yeah, everybody is looking forward to Christmas and clearing off those leaves. But anyway, the top equity counter was XOX Bhd, yet another company which is always being in the news, with 100 million shares changing hands. Anyway, MIDF says that the outflow in November was 1 billion ringgit because of external events.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's external events locally as well. We've talked last Friday, you and Chuang talked last Friday about the very interesting topic of the National Security Council. It's going to still be a hot potato. I think it's not going to get things any easier. And as we go on to the Fed rate, rate hike watch, I call it watch, it's like a badger watch, right? Their Friday's jobs numbers, which we talked to death last week, it showed that the US economy is actually quite stable. So because of that, people are saying about 80% chance that Yellen will finally pull the trigger. When they meet a little later this month, it's not going to be a happy Christmas for some.
It is not going to be a happy Christmas because investors are actually been thinking it was supposed to happen in September, but then they keep and pushing it into December, and if it doesn't happen in December, the market is going to keep going guessing.
Well, we were hoping it was for next year, but anyway, just a quick one. It's a lot of China data dump this week. Trade, consumer, producer price indexes all this week. Industrial and retail prices all this week. Shanghai Composite Index up 0.34% to 3536.937. Nikkei also is up about 0.99%. That's because Japan is going to release 3Q and GDP and machinery orders, broad barometers for how the economy is doing. Moving on to our hot stock of the day, we are looking at CAB Cakaran, or CAB Cakaran if you want, down about 4.14% to 1 ringgit and 62. The reason why, of course, it's interesting is because at one point during the day, it went up almost 5%.
Yeah, this company, they actually signed an MOU with KMP Private Limited Bhd to establish a fully integrated poultry business in Indonesia. Mind you, KMP Private Limited is a company owned by Salim Group, and you know what Salim Group does, right?
Oh, well, Salim Group does Indomee.
Indomee, yes,
exactly,
correct.
And you can't have Indomee without eggs.
Yes,
that's
you can't.
As they say.
And also chicken as well.
Yeah, that if you're rich. Stock has been climbing about 86% since mid-August. I think today's pattern of the stock is just so classic. Buy on speculation, sell on fact, because the Edge Financial Daily had the story on its cover and you saw the share price actually jump. But once it actually was confirmed, everybody sort of died down a little bit. So anyway, in this MOU, apparently they will establish a special purpose vehicle to, like you say, do a fully integrated poultry business in Indonesia. CAB will hold 10%, Salim will hold 90%. And the good thing is, if this venture makes money, CAB can actually increase their stake up to about 30%.
Yeah, indeed. CAB Cakaran, they have actually always been looking for the merger and acquisition activities domestically to enlarge the current production capacity. And currently, it has 10 breeder farm and 140 broiler farm in Peninsular Malaysia, producing about 4.2 million broiler birds per month. This increase is going to go well when you go into Indonesia.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is a good move for them when they move up. But let's just keep in mind, this is still just an MOU. If you actually were going to use it in marriage term, in Malay, it's called marise. We just go and look at each other and see if we like each other. But to be fair, as a bride, Salim has magnificent pair of knockers, which I'm sure everybody will be really, really happy with. Yeah. But CAB, of course, has to see whether or not it'll fit the groom. But the earnings-wise, I think they look quite good, right? They're up on the top line, up on the bottom line as well. And the higher revenue on the quarter was due to what?
Well, the higher revenue was actually due to the fact that they, integrated farming and processing division and inclusion of the new acquired subsidiary in Singapore.
Okay, so just to bring it all home, we did see CAB Cakaran jump about 4%, almost 5% today, because they signed an MOU with KMP Private, which is owned by Salim, which actually makes Indomee. However, we have to see whether or not this marriage will actually come about. Moving on to stock momentum, we're looking at Tekala Corp Bhd up an impressive 9.2% to 47.5 cent or 48 cent if you want to be round. Pegged as positive momentum by the Edge Research. The share price has slightly doubled from early September, but the real excitement, the real great stuff was a week ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a week ago, correct. That these companies, they received an RTO, the reverse takeover offer, worth 513 million ringgit from WMG Holdings Bhd, which will result in Tekala's diversification, which is currently doing timber plywood processing to property development.
Yes, exactly. It's like we said, and it's a joke, it's either oil or gas or
property.
property. And in this case, I think it's only been about a week, and it was literally a 513 million injection plan by some of the company's directors. Talk about turning the company around. And today it's about 66 million. And I think diversification, okay lah. I mean, I think property is still okay as a diversification tool if you have a very long-term plan. Again, and I use this example, you don't expect them to make cakes, do you?
No.
I mean, what do you think about it? Do you think it's just good for them, given if you looked at the results?
Well, I think they are. I mean, I think the company is loss-making for sure. I mean, and they need to actually find some new business to actually diversify. Earlier this year we saw Takaso, the condom, and maybe
Yes.
manufacturing into property development company. I think it's good. There's a lot of prospects there, but we still need to see how that will pan out anyway.
Well, it's only been a week. Let's be entirely fair to them. It's only been a week. I think people are still digesting. Positive momentum means that people think that the share price will actually continue to go up. But anyway, just to wrap it all home for you, we're looking at Tekala today, and they are actually pegged with positive momentum by the Edge Research. A week ago, they received an RTO of 513 million from WMG Holdings Bhd. Of course, property is always one of those big things that we all have concern, but let's be fair to them. It's only been a week. Let's see what they do with it.